All right, welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be a little reading vlog, a read along. Today we'll be reading Frankenstein. As I was reading, I realized I had no clue what Frankenstein was about. All right, let me start by saying Frankenstein is not just about a guy who creates a monster down in his basement. That definitely happens, but it takes maybe 2 pages. I've read the first 90 pages, and this book has made me think about what I would do if I was put in that same situation that Victor finds himself in. We see that once Victor creates and brings life into this creature, that he himself is scared of his own creation. So he ends up running away from it. He ends up losing it. He gets a letter a couple days later from his family that his younger brother had died. So he goes back to his hometown. He thinks that his creation is the culprit of the murder. However, the town is convinced that it's this other girl that did it. And Victor and his cousin Elizabeth are convinced that there's no way that this girl can have committed it. Victor thinks from the evidence, he concludes that it was his creature that ended up killing his younger brother. And so, in a way, he himself is the murderer. The girl is put on trial, but through this whole thing, Victor is trying to convince the town that the girl is innocent, but he doesn't want to say that it was his creature that he created. In the end, the girl is convicted of the crime, and Victor is convinced that her death is on his hands because he didn't speak the truth. And it kind of gets you thinking, what would you do in that situation, right? If you are found guilty, if you're Victor and you're found guilty, then it would be you who dies, or you're not believing, you're a madman. So now we're going to see how far we can get into Act 2. The way this book is written is just very descriptive. Mary Shelley understands how to make somebody understand the feeling. I marked it. I bought some tabs. But listen to this. Now all was blasted instead of that serenity of conscience which allowed me to look upon the past with self-satisfaction, and from thence to gather promise of new hopes. I was seized by remorse and the sense of guilt which hurried me away to a hell of intense tortures such as no language can describe. I shunned the face of man. All sound of joy or complacency was torture to me. Solitude was my only consolation, deep, dark, death-like solitude. So we just see how much guilt this Victor Frankenstein feels. And we understand because we saw what happened in Act 1. And during Act 1, I just thought, why isn't he speaking up? But then he explains why he doesn't speak up. So we finally hear the story of the creature and the events that led to the way of his thinking and the way of his being at the moment he met up with Victor again. And it all started when he was going through the woods and he noticed a cottage that housed a family. And the older man was blind. The creature ends up learning language. He understands human emotions. He gets his hands on some books and he's able to now read. So he reads them, and through the books, he understands some concepts of love, family, morality, and this whole experience just makes him understand that he is not part of this world that he was brought into, that he one day saw his reflection in the water, and he understands that people would consider him a monster. So the creature starts to read more, and as he's reading, he thinks that the family will be more compassionate. He has these ideas from these books that the family will be able to overlook all the deformities of himself. So he comes up with the plan that he's going to talk to the father who is blind, because this way he'll be able to speak to the father without the father noticing his deformities. And this way, if he gets to know him, he might be able to introduce him to the rest of the family. Doesn't go as planned. Right when the family sees them, they run off. The son ends up beating the creature. The creature is much stronger than the whole family, but yet he doesn't do anything. He takes the beating and he just runs off. And he's just at this point just so hurt. You know, he really thought this family, he saw them, he saw what they've been through, and he thought that they would be different. So after the family attacks the creature heads down to Geneva because he has some letters from Victor. He has Victor's journal from the experiment, and it's explaining how Victor never liked the creature. He detested him. He hated him. He was an abomination. So the creature wants to go find Victor and just make him suffer the way he's suffering. Why did he create him if even the creator can't love their creation? Creature heads down to Geneva. As he's heading down, he sees a girl fall into the river. He saves her. Yet the person that's with the girl still sees him as a monster, points a gun at him, and shoots him. And at this moment, he realizes no matter what he does, people are not going to accept him. They're always going to see him as a monster. So he just has this thought that he could change people's minds. As he heads to Geneva, he thinks, okay, if I could basically kidnap a kid, they're young enough to not have any prejudice against him, that he might be able to change their mind. So he ends up running into a boy who ends up being Victor's little brother. As the boy sees the creature, he starts screaming. He says he's an ogre, that he's going to eat him. And at this point, the creature just sees there's no hope, that even little kids will see him as a monster. So he ends up killing the little brother because he finds out that he's related to Victor. And he takes a locket off of the kid, so he puts it in Justine's pocket. So that's how she gets framed for the murder. She has the locket, and that's the key thing that ties her to the murders. So he explained this all to Victor. So all of this is just because of one incident. One thing changed for him. And this just made me think, like, one thing, one action can change the course of somebody's whole life. And the creature also tells Frankenstein that he needs to make him a creature just like him because nobody else is going to be able to love him. So he needs to create essentially a female version. So that's what happened in Act 2, and we have one more act to go. We finished Volume 3 of Frankenstein, which is also the last volume. I love the story. I love everything about it. I do not like Victor Frankenstein. But that just shows how Mary Shelley wrote him to where we understand why he did what he did. We understand his motives. But at the same time, he was just so selfish. The reason why he's complaining, it's because of himself. He's the cause of everything. The one thing, though, that really made me not like him was he killed a whole pack of dogs trying to look for the creature. I didn't tell Freya that part because, you know. And that is the point where I truly knew I didn't like Mr. Frankenstein. I enjoyed all 225 pages. I give this a 9 out of 10. It was such a good book. The themes through it let you see how somebody's actions dictate the rest of their lives. And some emotions can be carried through a whole life. This book just shows you how the events of your past, if you let them, will control your whole future. So don't let that happen. And don't be like Victor and not be able to enjoy the joys of life. All right, so that's gonna end this video. Freya, you have anything to say? Nope. If you've read Frankenstein, let me know what you think of the book. Because I feel we shouldn't like Victor Frankenstein, but I feel I may be wrong about that. But I don't know why I'm wrong about that. That's what I've been thinking as I've been reading it. But until next time, thanks for watching.